Previously on X-Men.
What's going on, sports card hobby family? Another day, another sports card video. Shocking data today. Stuff that's going to surprise you. We're going to talk about cards that have rocketed up. Yesterday, we went over some big falls, some big price falls over the last 365 days. But you might be surprised that the gainers far outweigh the fallers. Does that make sense? I don't think that really adds up, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We're here now. Thank you very much for joining me. For the Tuesday promotional shout-outs, huge thanks to Drip Marketplace. If you're looking to upgrade your sports card collection or rip some of the hottest NFL, NBA, or MLB products, it's got to be Drip Shop Live, the go-to live shopping platform with trusted sellers and die-hard collectors. With my code down below in the video description as well as in the pinned comments, you can get up to $250 in credit to use immediately on their app. No minimum purchase. Make sure to follow my link below. Wooten Sports Cards on Whatnot. If you happen to be a whatnotter, check out Wooten Sports Cards. 10,000 followers, 5.0 feedback. The guy's on fire, sells out pretty much every week, and overall, a good dude. Check out Wooten Sports Cards on IG for the non-sports, the vintage, and the modern. Jay Duckin Cards, he's got all the goodness. Happy to answer your questions. Buy, sell, trade, longtime collector and dealer, just for all the non-sports stuff that's starting to really gain traction we've seen over the last year or so. The pop culture stuff, hit up Jay at Duckin Cards on IG. Last but certainly not least, we've got JustCollect.com. Clayton Sheldon, one of the top buyers of vintage card collections and vintage cards in general in the country. To get an appraisal, all you have to do is go to JustCollect.com, fill out the information, and bam, boo, bam, you're all set. All right, as I said yesterday, we covered some of the bottoming out of cards. Of course, we see it all the time. Players don't work out, off the field, cord injuries, things go wrong, everything goes sideways, cards drop in price. Man, if you pick the gainers, if you pick the risers, the ones that do pan out, there are some hidden gems. And here's the thing. So when I was looking at the data and market movers, the one thing I did when I was looking through the data is I was looking for volume of sales. So these athletes that I picked out, there's some that were higher than them, some lower, but they might have had 5 sales in the last 365 days, or 8 sales, or 2 sales. I was trying to find really like 70, 80, 100 plus sales of various cards for a particular athlete, some hundreds of sales, to come up with this, because I thought that would be interesting. Whereas if I just pick out random players at 5 sales where the prices bump up and down, not very helpful. So first off, in baseball, we've got Evan Carter. Over the last 365 days, the defending champs, the Texas Rangers. This guy, he's got his first full season ahead. The number 5 prospect, according to yahoo.com. This guy's stuff, over the last 365 days, we're looking at 2020 Bowman cards, first Bowman and that sort of stuff. 161% plus to 242%. We're talking about some pretty big gains over the last 365 days. So, of course, with baseball prospecting, it can go a lot of different ways. And guys can go down, they can go to 0, they can go down 98%, but some of them can shoot up, and that's what all the speculation is about. So Evan Carter is one of these guys in baseball that is a high-profile prospect that hopefully has a good season ahead of him, but there's a lot of spec money that has come in over the last year. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about, kind of really the shock of the sports card world. Let's be honest here. I mean, nobody on earth, nobody. If you go back a year and you're like, you know what, let's pick an athlete in college or pro that will probably be the best overall buy as far as just how much cards have gone up. Maybe there's others that I'm just not thinking of right now, but over the last 365 days, a female basketball player is literally the best buy that I could see anyway, and maybe there's some exceptions here that I missed. Caitlyn Clark at Iowa, her Bowman Chrome stuff, her Bowman U stuff has gone absolutely ballistic. And I buy some of the QBs that are coming up, the Bowman U. I buy the autographs, because you can get the autographs of these top players for $70, $80, $100 depending on what you're buying. Maybe $150, $200 for some of like the lower numbered stuff. Caitlyn Clark's non-autograph refractors sell for massive, massive money. Of course, she's committed to the WNBA, up 363% to 775% over the last 365 days. These cards have 3x, 4x, 5, 7x, 6x over the last 365 days. If you stockpiled Caitlyn Clark cards going back in time as they had come out, I mean, you did excellently well. More so than the vintage, more so than anything. The Wemby, all that stuff. More so than anything else, Caitlyn Clark was the diamond in the rough the entire time going back a year. And I know people because they messaged me and said hey, I bought into Caitlyn Clark, and I was thinking in my mind that's awesome. Great. That's cool. Hey, it's an amazing story. It's cool for the WNBA because frankly, the WNBA just needs a spark. I'm not going to sit here and pretend they have, a long track record where there's a lot of excitement around the WNBA and attendance is full. That's just not the reality. The WNBA has struggled, and now you've got some players that are coming up that are really gaining notoriety, and it's going to be fun to kind of see what happens here. Of course, Caitlyn Clark, the sharpshooter. I've said it before, WNBA needs sharpshooters. We're not going to have high-flying dunks. Most likely, it needs to be sharpshooters and just fundamentally really good basketball players kind of making that league. But to me, it's really got to be a three-point bonanza. And that's what we're kind of seeing. We're seeing a lot of interesting stuff at WNBA. But there it is, Caitlyn Clark. I mean, look, it's right there. The numbers are there. The numbers don't lie. Let's move over to football, my new nemesis. Actually, this is an old nemesis, now becoming even more of a nemesis. And we're talking about Kirk Cousins. You like that? Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, of course, the starter for the Minnesota Vikings. Falcons have picked him up. As a New Orleans Saints fan, longtime fan, Kirk Cousins has been a thorn in the side for the Saints. With the Vikings, you got the Minnesota Miracle. Granted, he was hurt for the Minnesota Miracle play, but Kirk Cousins, I was actually at a playoff game a couple years after that where Kirk Cousins threw a ball to their tight end in the back of the end zone to beat us in the playoffs. The Vikings have really had our numbers since we beat them. Favre and the Vikings to go on to the Super Bowl and win it. It's almost like we got cursed from that game. But anyway, Cousins now comes to the Falcons. I know this is going to sound weird. Cousins, an obviously better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, but we are not good against running QBs. That's where the Saints really struggled last year, where teams could run on us. Cousins is not going to run on us. I feel a lot more comfortable when you got a guy sitting back there, and I think that his best years are behind him. Next season might be okay, but I think Cousins is kind of on the last leg of his career, and I'm perfectly fine with our pass rushers and everything getting after him. Kind of reminds me of Matt Ryan a little bit, kind of towards the end there. So Kirk Cousins, but look, the movement with him being hurt, and of course nobody cares. Guys get hurt. Nobody cares about him. Off the radar. His cards over the last 365 days. Now, of course, you have him moving to Atlanta, up 228% to 732%. And it might be a $5 card that went to $40 or something. So keep that in mind. This isn't necessarily like a $1,000 card going to $7,000. We're talking about all ranges, but it's all the same from a percentage standpoint. But Kirk Cousins is a guy, again, he's not on the vlogs. He's not on the vlog shows on YouTube like, hey, we're going to flip these cards, and the taxi guy and all the other guys that are out there flipping cards. Not Kirk Cousins, but there you go. Over the last 365 days, he's been a huge gainer in football. Let's move over to soccer real quick here. The soccer cards, of course, got a huge jolt going back a few years leading up to World Cup. A lot of excitement, especially around Messi stuff. Still a lot of excitement around Lionel Messi. But we have a new phenom that has made gains, and it's Jeremy Doku, the striker for Man City. His 2020 Topps Chrome is Mosaic. All of his stuff has gone bananas. I think there's a lot of expectation with him in Man City. I think he's kind of considered to be one of these next guys scorers. He's 21 years old, I believe. And he's playing for Man City, which is, of course, a huge club. But over the last 365 days, cards 181% up to 455% on the gains. And again, I'm looking at volume here, so I'm not looking at 5 sales. He's had quite a few of these sales, 70, 80, 100 sales over the last year that show these gains, excitement around soccer prospects. Who would have thought that's still going on? This is good, though. This is good information for me, too. Hockey. Now, I know what you're going to say, Connor Bedard. I'm not going to say Connor Bedard. I don't even know who the heck this guy is. So I'm hoping the hockey guy people, I'm going to leave this one out. I'm going to let the hockey card people explain this to me. Kyle Connor, 2016 Upper Deck Young Guns, whether it's PSA 9, BGS 9.5, PSA 10, 91% up to 218% for some of these cards over the last 365 days. So names that you didn't think you were going to hear. I wanted to kind of look at some of the, not the usual stuff where it's like over the last 2 weeks or 30 days, Wembanyama has gone up or down or whatever. I just want to see like over the last 365 days, what's been going on. And I think this would surprise people. I think people would be like, wow, you know, you could actually pick certain players that are not on the masses radar, that are not necessarily the ones that are always talked about, and actually do pretty well just kind of picking your spots here and there, which of course in the card market, it's always so unpredictable and volatile and everything. So everybody's got a chance, you know, everyone's got a chance, and that's why there's so much speculation in sports cards and trading cards as a whole. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed this. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.